Hi again, everyone. I'm olliemathews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from Teresa. Before I get to Teresa's video, please go to the description box and click on the Rumble link. I ask everybody to watch on Rumble. Still monetized there. It'll help out with the channel. On to Teresa's video, she sent in two clips. They're kind of short for me to watch and review. I don't know why I'm so big here. For me to watch and review, and they're from this guy Bill Cooper, a few years old, but I think they're pretty pertinent. Here we go.
That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player on one team $6 million a year.
Yeah, this is kind of like carrying on to what I was talking about in the other video. Like, why do they freak out over what these CEOs, man? And it's exorbitant, but nobody says anything about these actors or athletes, and like, there's no outrage over this.
Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive? And when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor, he sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games.
See, he is right on what we're looking at now with the entertainment and the sports industry. It is, what the emperors were doing with circuses. However, baseball was baseball and sports, but baseball especially was part of the foundation of America. It's an American pastime. Baseball wasn't created on some kind of this bread and circuses agenda. It was a game. Games are not every game is necessarily meant to break down society. There was an honor to baseball. There was an honor to sports. There was an honor to all of it. There were rules, and the rules were enforced. And these sports were something that were done as a family. This was a support to the nuclear family unit. Now, the games themselves weren't created as quote unquote circuses, not in the Western culture. Sure, back then that's exactly why they created them. But what they did is once society advances and we get to a point where we can have games where it's not used to crush a society, that window is very small, because then the powers that be then retake those games that were established for the good. See, the Roman games weren't established for any type of good. They were established for control. That's not why, football and baseball were invented. They were invented to be part of the American culture, and all of that has now been destroyed. The other thing I think he's missing here, with the comparison between the Romans and the Roman games and baseball and football now, is what he says. Those games, those Roman games, they were having slaves compete. They were throwing Christians to the lions. They weren't getting compensated for any of that. This is a different situation. Though I think they would love to be able to underpay, and they have, they don't pay them. They don't pay them because they're trying to, make the bread and circuses better. They're paying them because they have to. They're paying them because Western, that is kind of a remnant of Western culture, of American culture. There's no such thing as slavery. We don't have slaves. There has to be equal compensation. And when they're looking at equal compensation, they're looking at what these CEOs and what these teams and what these sports are making. So as a comparison, even even the millions of dollars these athletes are making is nothing compared to what these teams actually make. They're not paying them because they're trying to support it. They're paying them because they have to and they were forced to. The payment is one last remnant of civilized culture.
All to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world.
And that's what's happened to the entire sports world now. I mean, all that is accurate. Because they've destroyed the family, they've destroyed the nuclear family, they've destroyed morality, they destroyed the family unit, they destroyed what baseball was about. Now what do you got? Now what do you got showing up? You got transsexual cheerleaders in the NFL. You got female umpires. Everybody's making a big deal. She blows her first call by 7 inches. I mean, you can't make this shit up. These teams' pride night, and if you don't want to wear the flag, you're a bigot. And how did this happen? You got the Los Angeles Dodgers fighting ICE. It's bigger. They took what was good and twisted it and destroyed it. And you know where it started? Women in the locker rooms. Female reporters in the locker rooms. That's where it all started. That's where it all went downhill. They started allowing the female reporters in the locker rooms in the 80s, a whole big thing. And here we go. Once again. Accommodating everybody. Now you got these bimbos on every NFL and college sideline. They don't know anything about sports. They don't know anything about sports. It's all hair and makeup and short skirts, barely covering their clam. That's the bread and circus part of it. They took American sports that were based on rules and fair play and teamwork and brotherhood, and they destroyed it. American games were not created as bread and circuses. They became that. Very important. Because you can't, people with the sports ball, and they hate you, and why would you watch them? Yeah, you're right. And I watch very, very little sports anymore because of it. But you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because when they say, what culture does America have? That is American culture. Baseball, American football, that is American culture. Even basketball, and I'm not a basketball fan, is American culture that has been bastardized and destroyed by the same people that have been destroying societies for forever.
So that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is. So they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated. So they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay.
Too dumb to question. And he's right on that. And sports and politics, they used to be married. Sports and patriotism went hand in hand. I mean, that's why before every event, what do they do? What do they sing? The national anthem. Now that's the only patriotism you get. And a couple of years ago, you weren't even getting that because everybody wanted to kneel on the flag. No. You don't give up what was ours. You don't give up one of the foundations of what made America what it was, because it's been taken over by a bunch of communists, by a bunch of Marxist communists that just want to destroy everything. No. You go back and you take back what's yours. The NFL, I think, is going to find out with this, with these transgender cheerleaders. They're like velociraptors. They're still testing the fences. They never stop testing the fences.
A player on a football team or a baseball team, $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets, and they think that's a great accomplishment.
And he's right about that. He is absolutely right about that. And you can blame sports gambling for that, these stupid fantasy leagues. Like, you will not catch me playing fantasy football or anything like that. Not for money, gambling, any of that. It's all just been degenerated. These sports leagues used to go hand in hand with the patriotism of the country. Not anymore. They got taken over. So yeah, you have Roman bread and circuses, but they weren't created for that purpose. The Roman bread and circuses were. These circuses were bastardized versions of what created the culture in the first, something that helped create the culture in the first place.
And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's really sad.
He's not wrong. I mean, he's not wrong. I disagree with, why they're getting paid. Like, the getting paid is part of the morality of what this country was founded on. And what this country, the true fabric of the country. That's why they're getting paid, and they're not actual slaves. Now you talk to them before free agency, arbitration, like, at the end of the day, they're playing a game. Nobody was getting fed to any lions in American sports.
Their whole purpose throughout history has been to teach a small number of people how to become adept at controlling everyone else. Their goal is to destroy all existing religions save theirs, all existing governments save theirs, and shackle the mob in a system of eternal oppressive debt chained to a computer for the rest of their life.
That's the life of misery. Now this is dead on. It was all about sticking you in a cubicle, having you stare at a monitor, doing meaningless work that now in 2025 AI can do in a fraction of a second. In a fraction of a second.
In a propagandized world to make them believe that they are happy in this system. Now, do you think they're succeeding? Haven't I described to you just now exactly what is going on in the world today?
And this is 20 years ago, or 27 years ago, because this is another black-pilled video. Yeah, this is 7 years old, so you're going on 30 years now. 30 years.
Yes, they're succeeding. They're succeeding because the American people don't understand their enemy. They don't even know what's happening.
They don't even know who their enemy is. Well, they're kind of waking up now. Kind of hard to deny it now in 2025. People are kind of seeing, kind of hard to stop noticing. Kind of hard to not notice. Kind of hard to not notice.
There's a method to their madness. There's really not much method to yours because you're operating from a place of ignorance, and until you...
Now, this guy you're looking at, that's Philip Mudd. Why is he significant? This guy was like some big to-do in the CIA for years. Okay, so what? You know who his grandfather is? His grandfather's name was Mudd too, Dr. Mudd. The Mudd that harbored the assassin of Abraham Lincoln, John Wilkes Booth on his farm, and plotted it. And there was evidence that he plotted it. I don't remember how he got. I think he got a pardon. He got a presidential pardon. He was charged in the conspiracy. And he's guilty. He was guilty as hell. Now, I don't care how many generation is later, okay? Your great-great-grandfather is involved in the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, and you get a job, and the CIA still hires you. I don't care. You find any reason. Any reason. That's where the phrase, his name is Mud, comes from. Comes from his great-grandfather. Oh, he's mud, meaning he's done for.
Change that, you're going to be bumbling around, bumping into each other, saying and doing the wrong things, not understanding the nature of your enemy. And if you don't understand the nature of your enemy and the weapons they use, you cannot fight that enemy. You can't fight the battle. You shouldn't even be on the battlefield. That's why you're losing the war. And don't tell me you're not, because I'm in a place of great knowledge about who's winning and who's losing this war. And I can assure you, you're losing the war. This country.
They didn't even know they were in a war. That's the problem. They're losing a war they didn't even know they were in. Because they're blissfully ignorant. They're figuring it out now. Once the normie starts losing their stuff, and that's what's happening now, and the normie's getting abused, and the normie's getting robbed, and the normie's getting, the horrible things happen. Now they look back and they realize, holy shit, we've been in a war for 50 years. I didn't even realize it. Because I'm too concerned with my fantasy football league.
The country was founded by dangerous men.
Amen.
Damn right. Fuck around and find out. Nothing wrong with that. We told England, let us go, fuck around and find out. They found out.
And the moment the people in this country cease to be dangerous men, it's going to be the day we cease to have a country.
The day we cease to be dangerous men was the day we ceased to be a country. Why is that? Because if your enemy has no fear of you, they're going to run roughshod. It's the same argument I was making over the shoplifting. It's a lot bigger here. If the thief doesn't fear consequences from the retailer at the point, then there's no fear to be had.
And I'm going to tell you right now, unless we can be successful in creating a real free press, where the American people get different viewpoints other than those expressed in the establishment-controlled media, there's going to be a civil war in this country, and it's going to come soon.
Well, we're already in it. But luckily, what he didn't, what Bill Cooper didn't foresee was the internet, where we all become the media, where the media has now become virtually irrelevant, and people like podcasters and YouTubers and TikTokers get more views and get more credibility than your so-called mainstream media. This is something he didn't know. He didn't see coming. He didn't foresee that. Well, how could you back? Who would have believed it? Who would have believed it that just some guy sitting in his living room, in his kitchen, and wherever could buy a microphone and start. There would be a website where you could just pull videos and talk about it, and people would listen. Talk about what you want, and people would listen. Not only will people listen, people will pay to support what you say. We are deep within this civil war. It's an information war right now. It's a war of unrest in the streets, but not an out and out shooting war. But make no mistake about it, the Civil War is here. I mean, it's just informational at this point. PSYOP, media. That's what the censorship is about. When these people lose any ability to make any type of argument, they got to shut you up and shut you down.
The only thing that can stop it is by waking up vast amounts of sleeping people.
Good luck.
Sheeple is what they are. They are following the Judas goat right into the shearing pins, and from there they will go to the slaughter, and they will not know that anything is wrong until they smell the blood of the sheeple in front of them.
Too late. They will not know anything is wrong until they smell the blood of the sheeple in front of them. That's what they are. They're sheeple. You know? Understand, they created our bread and circuses from something pure and something that was part of the American culture. You know, they took something good and destroyed it. That's what Marxism does. That's what communism does. They take what's good and they ruin it because they're an inept people. And they're driven on hate and rage and jealousy. And that's what they've done with our society. So let me know what you think in the comments section. Thank you to Teresa for another contribution and clips. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. Also, be sure to subscribe to both my channels on Rumble. If you haven't watched the video over there, please do. Even a click helps. Follow me on X and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.